Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavati Tamastu Mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let's chant Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verses 1 to 5.
अर्जुन उवाच ध्यायसि चेत् कर्मणस्ते मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन तत्किं कर्मणि घोरे मां नियोजयसि केशव व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्। श्रीभगवानुवाच लोकेऽस्मिन् द्विविधा निष्ठा पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ ज्ञानयोगेन साङ्ख्यानां कर्मयोगेन योगिनां न कर्मणामनारम्भात् नैष्कर्म्यं पुरुषोऽश्नुते न च सन्न्यस्सनादेव सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत् कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म सर्वः प्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः।
Third chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is entitled as Karma Yoga, and we had taken it up in the previous class, and we had covered up to the first 3 shlokas. Now, every chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is divided into various topics by our Guru, Swamiji, Swami Parthasarathy, for us to be able to grasp the thought flow. It is otherwise little difficult to grasp the thought flow. So, though the splitting of topic is not part of the original Gita, people like our Swamiji who did extensive research on the subject, they divided them into further topics for us to understand the entire thought flow of the Gita. So this topic, this chapter, which is having 43 shlokas, were divided into 6 topics. We saw all that. It is also there in Swamiji's book. You can refer to that. So the first topic is from shloka number 1 to 3. The topic is introducing the path of action. Now, in this particular chapter, which is entitled as Karma Yoga, the yoga of action, which means it's a complete science of action. It talks about the importance of action, what is the technique of right action, and what are the impediments that one may face while doing the right action, and how to overcome those impediments. So thus we call this as a complete science of action. It covers action from all possible angles, and it emphasizes the importance of doing the action. Yet a lot of people have got the misunderstanding that Bhagavad Gita should be studied after retirement, while this is talking about how to act, meaning how to function in this world. And in fact, when you understand Bhagavad Gita, you'll understand the term renunciation properly, because that's the fear a lot of people have. Oh, Bhagavad Gita means I'll have to renounce life. I'll have to give up my life in this world and take up sannyas, etc. Whereas the true meaning of renunciation is also spoken in the Gita. In fact, as Swami was asked, please tell me what Gita gives in a nutshell. He said, very simple. You simply repeat the word Gita. Gita, 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 Gita. It comes Tyagi, 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 Tyagi. Gita, 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 Gita. If you repeat, it will come Tyagi, 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 Tyagi. Tyag means renunciation. So the real essence that Gita gives is Tyag. But what is real Tyag? What is real renunciation? We need to understand. In fact, Swamiji nicely captures it in one line, one sentence. He says, it is renunciation in action, not renunciation of action. It is not talking about renunciation of action. It is talking about renunciation in action. Especially Karma Yoga is that renunciation in action. Then you may rise above your desires and vasanas. You may go to a very, very high level where you will be renouncing action from the worldly point of view. You will still be doing certain other actions from a different lifestyle. Like people who renounce the worldly jobs and take up research. And when they go and do research, they are mostly in the labs. They are not connected with the other people like who are in marketing, etc. That doesn't mean that they are not doing work. Everybody has to act, and how to act. And through action, we need to achieve the highest. And that's what Gita talks about. So, in the very beginning of this chapter, chapter 3, after having heard Lord speak in the second chapter, you remember the thought flow in the second chapter? See, those of you who have joined recently in the class, you can go through the classes. It's all available on YouTube. You can listen to all that to get the gist of what we have been discussing. So what in the second chapter happened was, in the first chapter, Arjuna succumbed to his emotions and he became incapacitated to act. He was completely stressed. This is what happened in the second chapter. Sorry, in the first chapter. The first chapter of the Gita is called as Arjuna Vishada Yoga. The yoga of Arjuna's despondency. Arjuna was in a state of delusion. He was completely stressed. In verse number 30 of chapter 1, he says, Gandivam samsrate hastat tvak chaiva paridakhyate. My Gandiva is slipping from my hands. I am sweating. My knees have become weak. My mouth is parched. I'm not able to stand on my feet, etc., etc. He talks about his condition. How did he fall into that condition? He was so confident. They tried their best to avert the war. They didn't want to go to the war. They tried their best to see that they don't have to wage this war so that so many people have to be killed, etc. But yet, their kingdom was unrighteously usurped by Duryodhana. So they have to get that back. But they were ready to compromise. So Sama, they tried discussion. Sama didn't work. They tried Dhanam, giving in. They said, just give us 5 villages, it's enough. No need for the kingdom also. Duryodhana said, nothing doing. So Sama did not work. Discussion did not work. Dhanam, giving in, did not work. Then they tried Bedam in politics. It's allowed. You try to weaken the opposition to avert the war so that you don't have to go to the war and kill so many people. So Bedam didn't work because they tried to tell the truth of Karna to Karna so that he will not fight on Duryodhana's side. Then Duryodhana will stop the war. That also did not work. Then finally there was no choice left than Dandam, which is war. And that also in the first chapter I pointed out to you when I did the summary, that the bugles were first blown by the Kauravas. It is Bhishma Pitamaha, who is the commander-in-chief of Kaurava army, who blows his conch declaring the war. After that happens, Sri Krishna blew his conch accepting the challenge. Then Arjuna blew his conch, all that we saw. So Arjuna was in a state of readiness to go for the war. Then he talks to Sri Krishna and says, because Sri Krishna was the charioteer, he told Sri Krishna, take my chariot and place it in between both the armies. Senayoru bhayor madhye ratam sthapayame achyuta. Take my chariot and place it in between both the armies. I would like to see who all have come to fight. He wanted to do SWOT analysis. So he said, please take the chariot and place it in between both the armies. And he says, my chariot. Me rataha, my chariot. And when the Mai has entered Arjuna's mind, Sri Krishna wanted to test his inner personality because he was extremely qualified externally. But was he really qualified internally? He wanted to test. So what he did, he took the chariot and placed it right in front of Bhishma and Drona and said, behold these great Kurus, great Bhishma Pitamaha and Dronacharya. All he wanted to tell Duryodhana was, though they were not interested in waging this war, since it is their duty to wage the war if the king has declared it as soldiers, they are merely doing their duty as a soldier. You also, without giving into your emotions, do your duty. So, since Sri Krishna is not yet the Guru and Arjuna the Sishya, therefore, as a friend, as a charioteer, this much only he could do. He took the chariot and placed it there. After seeing them, he completely collapsed. Arjuna completely collapsed. He could not, because it is the throne that Bhishma Pitamaha renounced for which they are fighting. And the weapons and everything they're able to use and fight now because entire art was taught to them by Dronacharya. How can I fight against these people? They are good people also. They are my guru and my great grandfather. How can I fight? How can I kill good people? Isn't it sin? And that made him become highly emotional. And he succumbed to his own emotions. And then he completely collapsed slowly. And he gives all kinds of reasons which are no reasons to justify his stance. And in the end, he says, I will not fight. He cannot fight because when you are stressed, you can't think. When you can't think, you cannot act. And when you don't act, you will not be able to achieve success. When you don't achieve success, you will be agitated more. That will make you go into this vicious cycle more and more and more. You will go in a downward spiral. And that's what happened to Arjuna. He therefore became completely incapacitated to act. That's how the first chapter ends. And actually, if you see, King Dhritarashtra, the father of Duryodhana, is a blind king. He cannot see what is happening. So he asked his charioteer, Sanjaya, who was given the power to see what was happening on the battlefield, which is miles away. Kurukshetra is miles away from Hastinapura. And King Dhritarashtra and his charioteer Sanjaya, they are sitting in the city. And Dhritarashtra is asking Sanjaya, please tell me what's happening on the battlefield. And Sanjaya is speaking. Sanjaya is telling him what is happening. All this is narrating whatever I told, that Arjuna got stressed and he completely collapsed. And listening to this, Dhritarashtra would have been happy, isn't it? Because if Arjuna doesn't fight, others look up to Arjuna, so maybe the war is over. They've already given walkover before even starting the war, and my side has won, so he would have been very happy. But that doesn't happen. Why? Because Sri Krishna intervenes. That is what he says in the second chapter. Sanjaya tells to such a person who was completely overpowered by emotions, overpowered by pity, Sri Krishna spoke. And he spoke whipping words, powerful words. With those words, he was stinging Arjuna. He was not giving advice as a guru yet, because he's not yet a guru. So he said, how did you fall into this crisis, in this kind of a situation to this level, man? Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupastitam anarya jushtam ashwargyam akirtikaram Arjuna. Klaibyam masmagam apartha naitad vayupapadyate shudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktvotishta parantapa. He says, you came ready to the battle. Everything you were ready. Suddenly, how did you fall into this crisis and behaving like this? So what does it mean? It means Arjuna was going on pointing out external situations as a reason for his stress. And Sri Krishna is now telling none of these are reasons because you were ready. Already you knew that if you are going to go for a war against Duryodhana, the Kauravas, there in their camp, Dronacharya is going to be there, Bhishma Pitamaha is going to be there, and so many other people are going to be there who are all related to you and friends of yours. You knew all that. But on that day when you came seeing them, you became emotional. So the problem is not outside, the problem is within you. Situation being same, there are people who are able to handle it much better without getting stressed. The other person, there are other people who get stressed and they blame the external conditions for their stress. So, what he wants to say is the external conditions have no power to give you stress unless you are weak from within. And that is what he's saying. You are weak inside, man. You have to wake up. Arise, arise, O Parantapa. Uttishta, uttishta, he says. Klaibyam masmagama partha, naitad vayupapadyate, kshudram hridaya daurbalyam, taktotishta parantapa. You have fallen because of this mean weakness of your heart. Arise, wake up. Then Arjuna comes to little bit to his state now. And he realizes, he says, my problem is, how can I fight against these people? At the same time, I understand as a Kshatriya, Grahastha, I have to do my duty, which is to fight the battle. Because if I don't do what I ought to do, I'll incur sin. But at the same time, killing good people is adharma. Doing adharma also, I'll incur sin. So this is my confusion. My choice is between devil and deep sea. This is the problem. This is what they call as Dharam Sankat. Arjuna is in Dharam Sankat. Deep Dharam Sankat. I don't know whether I should, as a Kshatriya, do my duty, wage the war, fight, and kill them or get killed. Or I should leave this battle because killing good people is also pap, sin. This is my confusion. He understood that he is confused. This is very, very important. The first thing that is needed is you should know that you are confused. Meaning you are caught up. You are overpowered by your emotions. And the ways and means that you have in your hand is not enough for you to deal with it. And it is extremely important that I come out of it. And I therefore need to seek help. This is needed. Any addiction, any situation in which you are stressed or anything like that, you need to first realize that yes, I am caught up. If you say that I can handle smoking habit, I can handle drinking addiction, you will not be able to handle it. You should first understand that yes, I'm overpowered by this weakness, whatever it may be. So once you understand that, then you also simultaneously, when you understand that whatever means and methods I have in my hand is not enough, is not sufficient to deal with it. Then I also understand the importance of coming out of it as soon as possible. And once I realize all this, then I will seek help. And all this happened to Arjuna in the beginning of second chapter, which is entitled as Sankhya Yoga, Yoga of Knowledge. And then he surrenders to Sri Krishna. Karpanya dosha upahata swabhavaha prichami tvam dharma sammuda chetaha yashreyasya nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. My nature is overpowered by the taint of pity. I'm confused. I don't know what is good for me, what is right, what is wrong. Please tell me what is good for me. And why you should tell me? Because I'm thy disciple. I'm surrendering to you. You are my guru. When he says I'm thy disciple, means he is guru. Sri Krishna is guru. So he says, I'm thy disciple, please teach me. And once Sri Krishna has now become the guru, Arjuna has become the Sishya. Earlier they were only friends, till now. Then only the actual Gita starts with verse number 11 of chapter 2. And there Sri Krishna first gave the highest knowledge. Why? Because Sri Krishna beautifully analyzed the problem that Arjuna is in, or all of us are in. What is that? Arjuna has identified himself to this individual. As a result, there is attachment. He has identified himself with Arjuna. See, Arjuna could have identified himself as Arjuna or as a Pandava who has to establish righteousness, or as Atma, the self. So he identified with Arjuna, the individual. As a result, Dronacharya is his guru, Bhishma Pitamaha is his great grandfather, attachment came. So what Sri Krishna wants to teach him is, He wants to teach him the knowledge which removes attachment, which removes sorrow. As long as you are attached, you will suffer. Attachment is the cause of all our suffering. And attachment comes from ignorance of our true nature. When you understand that you are Atma, now expressing as Lakshmi Narayan, who at the moment playing the role of talking on Gita, then there won't be attachment. If I start thinking that I am this Lakshmi Narayan, I have no clue about my original nature, then I will be attached to my students, I will be attached to my relatives, friends, everything, house, etc. So therefore, attachment is the cause of suffering which comes from ignorance of the self. The antidote for ignorance of the self is knowledge of the self. So Sri Krishna straight away gave the knowledge of the self. Without this knowledge, people are acting in the world today. He talked about that also. Is a lot of people are involved in action without this knowledge, therefore they are doing action selfishly, which is not correct. And then he said, having gained this understanding, this knowledge, you should engage in action in the spirit of Karma Yoga. And through Karma Yoga, what happens is, you will exhaust your desires, you will exhaust your vasanas. Like a child which is engaged in the toy world, slowly, as the child is exposed to the higher, the child becomes free from the toy world and then becomes mature adult, so that gets on to job and other profession, business, etc. Then the child is risen above the toy world. Like that, we have to rise our mind away from the worldly entanglements through the action. Therefore, you need to do karma in the spirit of yoga called Karma Yoga. So he taught Karma Yoga also in a nutshell there. He taught that in a nutshell. And then through that Karma Yoga, through doing action in the spirit of service and sacrifice, being in your day-to-day living, in the Grahastha married, doing business or profession or whatever, you continue living your spiritual life in the spirit of yoga. And then slowly your mind rises above all this over a period of time. Then you become ready for knowledge. And you become jnana yogyata. Through that knowledge, you gain the knowledge of yourself. You become enlightened. This is the way. Then Arjuna asked, okay, please talk to me about an enlightened soul, a profile of a perfect human being. He gave the profile of a perfect human being, and he also said how you can get there, what kind of practices you need to do. He emphasized on sense control, mind control, and developing the intellect, etc. And through all that, you realize the self. And this is the state of enlightenment, where you will not be affected by heat, cold, pleasure, pain, honor, dishonor, censure, praise. Nothing of this will affect you. You will be balanced and you will continue doing whatever is your nature in the interest of the total and be achieving success and prosperity. All that we discussed in the second chapter. After listening to all this, Arjuna has a confusion. That's how the third chapter starts, which is entitled as Karma Yoga. We already discussed all this, but few people have joined newly, so I tried to give this summary in a nutshell so that we can proceed with the thought flow from now on. So the third chapter, called Karma Yoga, begins with Arjuna's question to Sri Krishna. Remember, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a conversation between Guru and Sishya. So it's not one-sided dialogue. Sri Krishna is not only talking, Arjuna is also asking clarifications. This is a discussion going on. So Arjuna is asking, Jayasi chet karma naste mata buddhir janardana tat kim karmani gorema niyojayasi keshava yamishrena vavakyena buddhim mokhayasi vame tadekam vada nishchitya ena shreyoham apnuyam. This is the question. The first two shlokas Arjuna is asking, O Janardana, O Krishna, O protector of people, if you consider knowledge superior to action, why then do you, O Keshava, engage me in terrible action? And then he says in the second shloka, with an apparently perplexing speech, you confuse as it were my understanding. Tell me with certainty that one way by which I may attain the highest. One way what he's asking is, should I do action or should I gain knowledge? What should I do? because in his opinion, Sri Krishna was praising knowledge and putting down action. Actually, Arjuna is only quoting Sri Krishna, what do you call, little bit. He's not quoting him fully. Half of Sri Krishna's words he is quoting. What Sri Krishna did, he did praise knowledge, no doubt. He knowledge, when we say knowledge of the self, knowledge of Atma. You are Atma. You are not this body, mind, and intellect. All this he spoke, no doubt, in the second chapter beginning. Then he criticized people who do action without this knowledge, without this awareness, who are doing actions selfishly. He criticized selfish actions. He did not criticize karma yoga. He did not criticize action that is done with unselfishness or selflessness. Correct? He only criticized action which is done selfishly. So that is what Arjuna is quoting. That much is right. When he said you praise knowledge over action, he praised knowledge over selfish action. See, it is always better. See, today is Rama Navami. You understand? I guess that's why a lot of people have not joined also. They must be doing some puja or whatever. Rama Navami is celebrated across India. How many of us really celebrate with understanding any festival? Any puja that we do we understand and do? Many of us do it mechanically. And that mechanical aspect is what is criticized. So Sri Krishna put down action vis-a-vis praised knowledge. He only put down action that is done selfishly, mechanically, for selfish end. Then he said, you should turn the action towards higher. You understand? Rather than just doing the action for your sake, you should do it for higher sake. You should have a goal and serve that goal. When you work for the higher, you are part of that higher. Don't forget that. It's not that at the cost of you, you work for the higher. That's a wrong understanding. When you work for your family, are you not part of the family? When you work for your community, are you not part of the community? When you work for your country, are you not part of the country? When you work for the entire humanity, are you not part of the humanity? When you work for all the species, the entire universe, are you not part of the universe? So it is wrong to say that I must not take care of my self-interest. This is where a lot of people get confused. Self-interest is different from being selfish. You understand? And taking care of your self-interest, keeping yourself strong, you have to serve with a higher purpose. That's what Sri Krishna has been teaching. And this Arjuna conveniently did not understand. So therefore he is saying, tell me what should I do? Should I do knowledge or action? When you are criticizing action, why are you forcing me to do this Gora Karma, which is to kill my guru and great-grandfather, etc.? So tell me one thing what I should do. And in fact, he's not criticizing Sri Krishna also. He says, very beautifully puts it forth. He says, with an apparently perplexing speech of yours. Which means what? You are not really saying to confuse me. It seems like I am confused by your words, but you are not confusing me. He has the devotion to his guru. He's not criticizing his guru. He says there is somewhere down the line I'm making a mistake in my understanding. So please clarify. Tell me with certainty that one way by which I may attain the highest. What should I do to attain the highest? Should I follow knowledge or should I follow action? So in Bhagavad Gita we say, though in the second chapter the order was given like this, Sri Krishna first gave the knowledge, then he taught Karma Yoga. Why he gave the knowledge first? Because the problem that Arjuna is suffering from is ignorance. Not only Arjuna, all of us are suffering from that ignorance of the self. And therefore we need knowledge. But that knowledge we can gain only when we qualify. Meaning our mind should be available. And now, to make that mind available, you should free yourself from a lot of desires. Now, for 1 hour, if you are going to sit and listen to this class, and then every day 1 hour you have to sit and contemplate, think before you come to the next class, you need to keep your mind calm during that time. So, whatever obligations you had, you should have finished, and whatever other things, if you could have delegated to somebody else or to other time, in this 1 hour, you can peacefully sit and listen to me or read book or whatever. So that much mental maturity is needed. So you need to rise above your desires by giving them a direction. Desires are energy. It'll get dissipated. It'll get confused and agitate you if you are not giving them proper direction. So he therefore taught Karma Yoga, which is going to discuss in detail in this chapter again, because Arjuna has still not understood. Thanks to Arjuna, that we get a detailed explanation of the science of action. So, Arjuna is being told by Sri Krishna here that, listen, Arjuna, asmin loke dvida nishta pura prokta maya naga jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yogena. In this world, I have given one path only. What is that? Knowledge. See, if I'm in darkness, what can save me is light only. In the darkness, if I do so many things, I will only become tired. Nothing will happen. I need to put on the light, switch on the light. Light alone is the solution. Similarly, ignorance of the self is the cause, attachment is the effect, attachment is the cause, suffering is the effect. So, uske liye I need knowledge of the self. Lekin I have to ready myself for the knowledge of the self. Therefore, Karma Yoga will slowly make my mind qualify for that. And then I gain the knowledge, then I gain liberation, moksha. This is the path. So the path is only one, what? Knowledge. But it is twofold path. In the beginning, I'm having too many desires. Isn't it? I'm having too many desires inside me. Now, I can't suppress my desire. When you suppress your desires, what happens? It increases. I need to sublimate my desire. I need to rise above my desires like I rose above my desire for the toy world. I'm not against the toy world. I have no desires in that area. But when my children or grandchildren play with toy world, I understand. I in fact buy them. When I go abroad, I buy from Toys R Us, etc., and I give them. And once in a while, when they want me to play with them, I also play with them. But I have no value for those toys or anything. I carry on in life. I continue. So therefore, he says, I have to rise above these desires. How will I rise above these desires? Through action. That's why he says, for extroverted people, action. For introverted people, knowledge. Asmin loke dvida nishta. Nishta means path. He says dvida nishta. Twofold path. Path is only one. It's twofold. One is qualifying, then other is gaining knowledge and realizing self. So he says, if you are extroverted, since you will be filled with a lot of desires, you will react to the inputs. Where can you go? You tell me. Solution is not committing suicide. You have to live in this world. Now, when you live in this world, you can't live in the world keeping your eyes, ears, everything closed. Then you might as well die now. When you live in this world, your eyes, ears, nose, everything will be open. When you are open, whether you are interested or not, the world will enter you. Through your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, the world will enter. If you are sitting with too many desires inside, the receipts will go and react with them. And when they react, you will respond impulsively. You need to reduce your reactions. You have to reduce your reactions. So you need to follow certain lifestyle of sending only pure inputs through your senses and already existing in what do you call the desires inside has to be exhausted through karma yoga. You understand? Both you have to do. So therefore, you have to follow a lifestyle where you have discipline. You can't say, I will hear whatever I want. I will smell whatever I want. I will taste whatever I want. I'll see whatever I want. I will lead a very indulgent lifestyle with no discipline whatsoever. I don't care about sadhana, nothing. Then how will you get out of your desires? All these things will go and it will disturb you. So you have to, like if you are running an industry, you are going to manufacture steel products for which you are getting the raw material from the world outside. You have to make sure if the products have to be of first grade quality, you need to make sure that the raw material is also first grade. If the raw material is second grade or third grade, how much ever you know best machines you may have possibly in your office, in your industry, the products manufactured from the raw material will be second grade or third grade only. It cannot be first grade. So therefore, we have to have sense control, mind control, and all those practices. We have to eat food which will help in sense control and mind control. All the inputs, whatever we see, hear, smell, taste, touch, we should have certain discipline which will help us in having this control, which will not disturb our mind, which will not make us react. Then the existing vasanas are there. See, all of us have what is called as desires. And desires, when they are in unmanifest form, it's called vasanas, impressions. For example, if all of us are sleeping in one room, somebody else who's coming into the room, how would they know who is a Vedanta teacher, who is a businessman, who is a cricketer, who is a dancer, who is a singer? They won't know because all of us are sleeping. But when we all wake up in the morning, a Vedantan is getting ready to read, reflect, give lecture, etc. A dancer is getting ready to go teach, dance, or perform. Similarly, painter, musician, cricketer, everybody. So you know who is a mathematician, who is a cricketer, who is a dancer, musician, when they are manifest. So these vasanas manifest as thoughts in us, and then they manifest as desires, and then they manifest as actions. Since we have too many desires, we are inclined towards action. We cannot sit and reflect upon the truth. Only when you're quiet, you can actually see. Till then, you cannot. See, we all know that at the moment we know that there is no light coming from the moon. Though we keep saying moonlight, moonlight, moonlight. Actually, the light is of the sun, which is reflected through the moon. So, an ordinary person may think that light is coming from the moon. But an educated person who is understood knows there is no light coming from the moon. It is sun's light that is reflecting through the moon. This is what Vedanta is also saying. There is no joy in the world, in the worldly objects. It is Atma's joy, which is happiness, which is its original nature, is getting reflected through these objects and coming to you, and you're getting fooled. Now you may listen to this how many ever times you want, but for you to even physically understand, forget about deeply gaining wisdom, you need to be a little bit calm. So you need to therefore do something about your desires. Without doing something about your desires, if you sit and listen to pravachans or anything, you will not be able to really think properly. Therefore, since you have too many desires, you will be reacting too much. Therefore, you are inclined towards action. You are better off doing action. So what Sri Krishna says is, instead of doing action for your sake, now do it fixing a goal, directing it towards a higher purpose, and then take whatever comes as a result of that as a prasad. Dedicate your actions for a higher goal, and whatever comes as a prasad. Then you are not thinking about it while doing the action. So you won't gather more impressions, more vasanas. So the inside vasanas also will reduce. You are also not adding new vasanas by leading a disciplined lifestyle. and acting in the spirit of Karma Yoga. Thus, what happens? Inside becomes reduced. The vasanas becomes reduced. So every human being goes through this receipt, reaction, response. And the desires are reduced, and whatever little desires you have, also qualitatively superior desires you gain towards the higher, then your response becomes much better and better. So you have to do karma yoga if you are an extroverted person. And if you have through this process reduce your vasanas, then you become contemplative person. That's why he said, Lokesmin tvida nishta pura prokta mayanaga. I have already said it through Veda Dwara that for extroverted people, action means karma yoga. And for introverted people, contemplative people, knowledge. So the fact that Arjuna, I am after talking all this telling you to do action means what? You are an extroverted person. You have to do karma yoga. See, I'll explain this to you in a simple example. Now, you're all attending our sessions here in the city. Now, you all have too many vasanas. You want to run your business, you want to go to work, you want to take care of your family, you want to go abroad during vacation. Now June will come, you will want to go somewhere else to escape heat. All those desires are there, nothing wrong. But we must understand that we are at this level now. So maybe one class in a week I can listen, or once in a day maybe I can sit and study. But I need to go to work, I need to do my job, I need to have my own toys at this level, which are my cars, which are my house in a particular locality, my club membership, this, that, whatever. So nothing wrong. This is my level. I must understand that. So I'm okay to have one class in a week. Every day one study session at my house, I will sit and study. This much I'm okay. Now, if I suddenly decide, I'm bugged with my work and all that, I'm going to go to the ashram, and you come to our academy, which is near Lonavla. Now there, the schedule starts at 4:15 in the morning and ends at night 9 o'clock. In between, you get to sleep for 1 hour from 2 to 3. In that schedule, we have 4 study sessions: 4:30 to 5:45, 9:30 to 10:45, 3 to 4:15, 4:30, and then 6 to 7:15, like that. So 4 study sessions we have. And very little karma time. Of course, we'll have time for exercise and all that. Little karma time. So if you are a person who is action oriented, that will be too much for you. I can't do this study and all for long. Maybe 2 days when you go, you'll manage. 5 days maximum you'll manage. 6th day you'll run away. So you are more comfortable being in the world. And when you have risen, you yourself will know. Everybody is talking about which movie is releasing this Friday. It's not that you're not interested in watching movies. It's not that you're against movies. But you're not all the time thinking about it. Once in a while, maybe. Your mind is now matured into superior things. So then you will find this place not suitable for you. Maybe you need to go into deeper study. You need to go into deeper contemplation. So you are matured. That's why they divided our life also into 4 stages: Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. Brahmacharya, student lifestyle. Then Grahastha, married life, action oriented, doing karma as karma yoga. Then your mind matures. Then you go to Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha means residing in forest, meaning leading a simple life. Not in the hustle and bustle of the world. Because your mind is matured, you want to study, reflect, etc. Go into higher things, higher sadhana. You lead a very simple life, and then you hand over slowly, little bit. You may be involved in business and all that, but you'll hand over to the other generation and you move on. Then there may be a time, if at all, in somebody's life, maybe they want to do research fully, deeply going into it and take sannyas. Or in the house itself, you may remain in the sannyas spirit without really renouncing. Isn't it? So, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. This is the method. So when you are action driven, you must follow karma yoga. Karma is given for people who are extroverted. And Arjuna, you are an extroverted person. Therefore, I gave you karma. Lokesmin dvida nishtha pura prokta mayanaga jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yogina. For Sankhya's, for contemplative people, jnana yoga. For action oriented people who have more desires, karma yoga. Since you have too many desires, you must follow karma yoga. Then one day you will also come through contemplation and realization. Now he continues talking the value of action. From verse number 4, he gives the logical explanation, giving the importance of action, appealing to Arjuna's intellect, an intellectual appeal for action from verse number 4 onwards. So let's chant verse number 4 together. Very interesting shloka.
न कर्मणामनारम्भात् नैष्कर्म्यं पुरुषोऽश्नुते न च सन्न्यस्सनादेव सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति.
He says, not by abstaining from action does man gain actionlessness, nor by mere renunciation does he attain perfection. The word that is to be understood here properly is called actionlessness. In Sanskrit, the word for that is naishkarmyam. Naishkarmya siddhi, they call it. Naishkarmya means actionlessness. Now, the word actionlessness, many of us take it to be inaction, doing no action, remaining inactive. That is what they think. So, what Vedanta is saying is, when you reach that highest state, you will become vasana-less. See, remember, the chronology of action I did discuss in between. Action comes from desires. Desires come from thoughts. Thoughts come from vasanas. For example, somebody is a painter. They have painting vasanas. I don't have painting vasanas. Somebody else has painting vasanas. Another person has sports vasanas. So, since they have those vasanas, painting vasanas manifest as thought of painting. Then slowly, the thought of painting becomes desire to paint in them. And once they get the desire to paint, then they go about buying whatever is required for it, and that they allot the time for it and they paint. They do the action of painting. So where did that action spring from? Desire, thought, vasana. Other fellow has vasana for sports, cricket, let's say. His vasana for cricket will manifest as thought of cricket, then desire to play cricket, then he gets into the action of playing cricket. Vasanas, thought, desire, action. This is the chronology of action. Now, when you are doing the action, if you are all the time thinking about the result, how good your painting will turn out to be, how much it will be appreciated, how much money you can make out of it, so much if you keep thinking, those kind of thoughts, as you are sending them constantly, unintelligently, unconsciously, continuously, they will form vasanas again. Just like seed becomes sapling, tree, and the tree then tree then produces seeds, then the seeds produce more trees. Like that, your vasana causes action, and action, if it is done unintelligently like this, when you constantly think about the result, unconsciously send your thoughts all the time towards the results, you will be creating more vasanas. This is what is happening to us. Vasana, thought, desire, action, and vasana. Vasana, thought, desire, action, and vasana. We all are caught up in this cycle. So, therefore, we have to act, that is important, to exhaust vasanas. But we also need to act in such a way that we don't produce further vasanas. Is this clear? Because you have vasanas now, you have to act. But while acting, you should not produce further vasanas. So if you have vasanas and don't act, what will happen? Obviously, you'll be thinking about the object because desires are there. When you read a newspaper, they say that art exhibition is coming. Then you'll say, Arey yaar, if I had painted, my arts can also be exhibited there. So you are all the time thinking, you will be creating more vasanas by not acting. So when he says here actionlessness means desirelessness, thoughtlessness, vasanalessness. The idea, whenever you hear this word actionlessness in Vedanta, it means vasanalessness. That's what we say. God plus vasanas equals human beings. Human beings minus vasanas equals God or perfection. So the idea is we have to rise above the vasanas, desires. So then he says, Sri Krishna says, not by abstaining from action does man gain actionlessness. Why? Because if you abstain from action, what will happen? You may be inactive, but mentally you will be thinking about it, whereby you will be creating more vasanas. Therefore, you should not abstain from action. So that is what he's saying. Not by abstaining from action does man, human being, gain actionlessness, naishkarmya siddhi, vasanalessness state, nor by mere renunciation does he attain perfection. Renunciation of possessiveness. I may possess many things in life by merely giving it away. Will I become free from the thought that I am the owner of it? No, no. You would have given many things to so many people in life, isn't it? You probably had too many. So what did you do? Okay, let me give it to these people. So many people, you would have given it off. But to somebody you will be saying, or at least in your head it will be there, that I'm the one who gave it to them. I'm the one who gave it to them. The possessiveness is still there. So the idea is to rise above the possessiveness, not just giving, getting rid of the object, not by just renunciation. Not the idea is not to give up the action. The idea is to give up the vasanas. Give up meaning rise above it. That is what Sri Krishna is saying. Are yaar Arjuna, why you are asking this question? Because you are not really understanding what the goal is. The goal is not remaining doing nothing. The goal is to not have any desires bothering us in the mind. Now there may be certain questions coming. If I don't have desires, how will I act? All those will be dealt with in this chapter. All that you will get answer in this chapter. Because you just, if I don't have desires, why will I go to work? Why will I do this? Why will I do that? So, does it mean that when a person reaches perfection, he will not act? He already discussed in the second chapter also. Throughout the Gita, these things come up again and again from different angle. It is all being analyzed and discussed again and again. So that till all your doubts are removed, he won't leave you. So he says, not by renouncing action, not by abstaining from action, does man gain actionlessness, vasanalessness, thoughtlessness, desirelessness, nor by mere renunciation. By simply renouncing, you're giving up things. I don't want to keep anything with me. If you think that if you don't keep things with you, you will not develop desires for them. Many times it happens. So all of us are into the method whereby we are suppressing our vasana, suppressing our desires. We are not really rising above our desires. That's why I said Vedanta is interested in sublimation, not in suppression. Vedanta is interested in making you a mature individual, whereby you rise above the desires and you don't act on desires. So the opposite of it is acting out of love, doing your actions as a giver. When you act out of desire, you go and do the action expecting something, doing it as a beggar. That is why you are stressed and strained. But once you understand this philosophy and you start implementing it, you will act as a giver. You will continue acting, but not as a beggar. You will be acting as a master. How to do that? All the discussion comes. He explains. So, therefore, he says, nor by mere renunciation does a person attain perfection. Perfection is not achieved by renouncing things. That is very easy. Every day I give up one by one, something or the other. Like when you go to Kashi, in the Kashi, when you go, they tell you have to give up something and come. And that too, you have to give up something that you really, really love. One fruit that you love so much, one vegetable that you love so much, you have to give it up, they say. And there are people who give it up. But they start thinking about it more than before. After they come back from Kashi, maybe they are not eating it. But they are thinking about it so much all the time. And then they say, I gave it up in Kashi, I gave it up in Kashi, I gave it up in Kashi. You never gave it up. In fact, you have taken it up too much now. So, therefore, it is not going to leave you by external methods. The problem is here, internal. We need to deal at that level. This is what Sri Krishna is saying. It's very easy for us to take solutions externally. In the business also, what do? Give incentive. Giving incentive is easy. Making everybody get inspired is not easy. उसके लिए आप भी बहुत सारा मेहनत करना पड़ता है as a leader. The culture of the organization needs to be changed. उसके लिए मेहनत करना पड़ता है. उसके लिए certain things have to be understood and implemented. वो कोई तैयार नहीं है करने के लिए. You understand? Incentive, these are all methods which is quick fix. Quick fix. Fly by night methods you introduce, and then you also benefit little bit, then you think you will keep doing that. At somewhere down the line, you will get stuck. It's not going to work that way. So therefore, he says, it's not just abstaining from action or renouncing things. It is bringing up change internally. We'll see the rest of the verses for next week. Let's conclude. Om Purnamada Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.